So I've mentioned a few times on the podcast already, but I'm preparing to give a speech in February on stage with Tom Biliu. And that is a very big deal for me for a number of reasons. Number one is I look to Tom as being one of the preeminent orators. I think he's a great speaker. So to have the opportunity to share a stage with him is something I don't take lightly, and I'm very, very excited. The second reason is Tom is a bit of a mentor. I was in a mastermind with him a number of years ago, and I learned a great deal from him. And a couple of things that he's said over the years, a couple of practices that he employs have really stuck with me and helped me on my journey. And so this opportunity to speak right before him it's I don't know, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's really cool. And so been working on the speech. Actually, if you're watching this on YouTube on the Amplified Impact channel, you can see this is my speech. It's about 50 note cards, roughly 40 minutes. And so far we have on the back, what I like to do is every time I rehearse the speech is I just make another hash mark on the back. And so far we've rehearsed it 6 times. This is a 40-minute speech. So that's like 4.5 hours, maybe 4 hours of rehearsal time so far. And by the time we get on stage in February to deliver this thing, the goal is to have rehearsed it 100 times. That's 100 reps. So that'll be a lot more hash marks. We got a long ways to go, but I was working on that this afternoon and thinking about Tom and thinking about some of the things that I had learned from him. And I wanted to share one of the most impactful lessons that I had taken away from my time with him, which is just that you need to have rules. You need to have rules that you live by. He does this a lot through the lens of values and saying, like, what do I value? What kind of person do I want to be? And then he creates rules around those things. And he's very rule oriented. Now, I'm not so rule oriented in the sense that I'm kind of anti-authority, even the authority of myself. And so framing something as a rule, I don't know, it's not how, it wouldn't be the preferred way that I would language it, but there is something very, very useful in identifying what are the non-negotiables, the standards by which you live your life. And by getting clear on those, you can start to make decision making in the moment much easier. So instead of deciding, do I eat that cupcake or do I go for the run? If one of your rules is I work out every day and I don't eat sugar, then you don't do it. You don't eat the cupcake and you do go for the run, right? So you can just make decision making so much easier because you're living in alignment with your rules. And so I just wanted to share 5 of my rules, and you could create as many as you want. Create 2 rules, 10 rules. I think Tom has like 10, 20 rules. He has a lot of rules. I don't have nearly as many, but I just have some things that I try to like live up to every single day. And I've talked about this previously, but 3 of my core values are discipline, creativity, and curiosity. So did I learn something every day? Did I create something every day? Did I show up and do the work today, regardless of how I felt? Those are things that I guide myself by to try and live in alignment with the person that I want to be. And so here are 5 of my rules. Number 1, work out daily. It's non-negotiable. Every day, move your body, get over 5,500 steps, go lift something, go for a run, do something that makes your body sweat, make your heart rate go up. Use this beautiful body that you've been given. It is a gift. It is amazing. It can do so many incredible things. And there will come a day when you look back and you just can't do the things anymore. And on that day, you're going to hopefully not look back on your life and think, man, I wasted a lot of time not using this body and wish I could just go back and use it now. I want to use my body up. I want to get to the end of this ride and be like, you know what? I did everything I could with that thing. So rule number 1, work out daily. Rule number 2 is create something every single day. And this one's really important for me because creativity is one of my highest values, and yet creating things is hard. It is very hard. And my internal procrastinator doesn't want to create things. It wants to sit and just gets distracted and not do the work. And on those days when I fail to live up to my standard and my rule of creating something, I always feel worse for it. I always regret it. I always feel less than. And so showing up and creating something is just one of the highest expressions for me, at least. This doesn't have to be for you, but I do believe that fulfillment can only be created. And that's why one of my core rules is to create something every single day. Rule number 3 is to write 1,000 words every day. And this is kind of in the vein of creating something, but this is more just about clarifying my thoughts and taking the time to hone this craft and being very much more specific. With creating something every day, that could be this video. This is a great example. I'm creating something right now that could not exist without me. But the writing, that's sitting down, putting pen to paper, finger to keyboard, and that's hard, it's laborious, and it's a process that continually requires discipline on my side to show up and do the work. But literally every time I do it, I walk away having learned something new about myself or the world, or coming to some new insight. And it's a process that, more so than any other skill that I've acquired in my life, has had the biggest impact. Writing every single day. 1,000 words is maybe it's a lot of words for most people, but for me at this point, it's actually very, very doable. I can do that in like 40 minutes and 30 minutes if I'm really cranking. So it doesn't take a ton of time, but it's a foundational habit that trickles down and affects everything else in my life positively. Rule number 4 is to stop when the work is done. And there's two sides to this. There's two sides. One is don't stop doing the work until you finish. Keep doing it. Don't quit just because you're tired. Don't quit when you lose motivation. You're done when the job is done. But the other side of this is that as an entrepreneur or as a high achiever, you can have a very hard time leaving things behind, leaving work at work and not taking it everywhere with you. And so the other part of this is to know that when you have stopped, you need to have stopped. You need to put it away and be okay with that. And that's something that I'm still working on. These days, that's the harder part of this one. Stop when the work is done. I don't need to be told to keep working until it's done. Like, I will work well past that point. And that's the problem. So having this as a rule, you stop when the work is done. And again, that's really hard because the work is never done technically, especially as an entrepreneur. There's always more to do. But this is where getting clear about what's it mean to win the day, defining the parameters of success early, and then holding yourself to that and giving yourself permission, or at least requiring it of yourself, to stop when the work is done. The rest of your life will thank you. The last rule is to spend 1 hour every day with Jamie. And so that is make time for love and companionship and partnership. And it's hard sometimes in the sense that we're both very, very busy people with very ambitious goals in life, and getting that fourth rule, stopping when the work is done, is critical to being able to have that hour to spend uninterrupted, not on the phone, not on the computer, with Jamie. And granted, like, that it's not always like the most high quality time in terms of like, oh, we're just watching a Netflix show or something like that. But the important thing is to put in the reps, put in the time, and making time for that to make it a priority. So those are 5 of my rules. I don't know what your rules are, but I'd love to learn about them. I'd love to hear about them. So shoot me a DM, find me on Twitter at Anthony Vicino, find me on Instagram at the Anthony Vicino, or find me on LinkedIn at Anthony Vicino, or shoot me an email, shoot me a comment. Let me know, what are the rules that guide your life that you have found value in? So I'd love to hear from you guys. Until then, stay hyper focused, my friends.